Hello, everyone. This is Jove. I haven't recorded a podcast for a long time, but recently I get a new gig and work as FDE for deploy engineer at Cresta. And this is actually a new space. Not everyone know what is FDE, why we need FDE. So I guess maybe we can start a new podcast and name this as a forward deployed caffeine so that I can have a virtual or in-person coffee or tea with people in this space. And today we are so glad to have Milos to join us from the other side of the world and be our very first guest for this podcast. And Milos, do you want to do a quick intro about yourself?
Yeah, of course. Well, first, thanks for having me, Joe. My name is Milos, and I'm a forward deployed engineer at Leverage, relatively small but fast-growing Dutch startup in the space of automating internal business processes. As I mentioned, I'm based in Amsterdam. I've been doing this job for about 6 months, and very excited to chat with you about all stuff FDE.
Nice. Yeah. And you mentioned you spent past 6 months.
Yeah, it's been 6 months at Leverage doing forward deployed engineering, but my career spans all the way back to 2015. About 10 years now in the engineering space. A bit all over the place, to be honest. Software engineering, but also product management, technical instruction, all those skills that I believe put you in a really good place to become a forward deployed engineer.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And also, I mean, I guess we can talk about this a little bit later. That is, what's the kind of typical or even ideal profile for people work on this FDE role? Not sure whether you're familiar with me. I mean, it's okay that is, I'm nobody. I work as FDE for the recent 4 months, actually, right? Before that, I was a co-founder for a very kind of a low-level database infra kind of startup company as a co-founder, as a head of product. Before that, I worked for IBM, Bank, mainly as an engineer, engineering manager, engineering director. Yeah, so I actually in this space for more than 22 years and on different roles. But again, this is something we can talk about. That is, being FDE is not easy for sure. And actually, it's good to have a mixed experience, even some startup company background to help you to navigate in this complex environment. Yeah, again, and also the other thing that is we don't really prepare anything for this show, and so that we can just have a very natural conversation, right? When we build the AI agent, we want the call flow, the conversation is as natural as possible.
No, absolutely.
No one wants to talk to AI bots, or no one wants to read what's the term slope, right? Is AI generated stuff.
I would say in this era now of AI generated everything, it should be a bit of a refreshment to just have a couple of guys chatting about things. Yeah, with that in mind, actually, one thing you mentioned, you said you're an FDE, but if I'm not mistaken, you're head of FDE at Cresta, right?
Yes. So I'm always in the position that is I really enjoy make things happen, to put that way. So managing people, growing the team is something I'm good at. I'm not sure whether I should say enjoy it, but that's something I have to do to making sure we can get enough or we can get good talent into the team and work on the right problem in the right way. But also I really enjoy get hands dirty, right? So in the past I was more like full stack engineer. I write a lot of code, and also in this new position I joined as a forward deployed engineer first. I know how to do the things. Then I take this head of FDE role so that I can spend more time to refine the process, to refine the tooling, hire the right person in, and also build a better team together. So I'm not really just a FDE manager. But I don't really spend so much time as my engineers. So, but I observe and I try to see whether there's any room you can improve in the process. So I would say it's half, like half IC, half manager or leadership.
That's quite interesting. And I think you mentioned as well that at Cresta, your FDE organization sits inside of engineering, right? And oftentimes I see talking to other FDEs, FDE organization is a part of engineering, but sometimes it's a part of GTM, go-to-market. Sometimes it's a part of customer organization. What is your experience? And maybe if you look at some decisions that you've made as a sort of leading that FDE team, would any of these decisions be different if you were a part of sales organization, for example?
Yeah. So again, there's a different ways to organize ourselves as a as a company, as a team, and also in the AI world, that is, people say that you can just be one person to build a billion value company, and people might organize differently. Sometimes people say human beings should give the context for AI to work, right? So there's a lot of unlearn and rethinking for how we organize. But also in the same time, let's be honest, that is, even we don't want to ship our org to the customer, right? Because sometimes when you work with certain clients, big company, you will immediately know, hey, this is this team, this is that team. Even sometimes when I check the error message from one of the cloud provider, the error message say, this is not our fault, this is the other component. There's a certain structure. Sometimes can be good, sometimes can be bad. But the way I see how Cresta organize our FDE and maybe other team, that is, because FDE stand for engineer. So we write a lot of code. I don't really write many slides, right? So most of the time, all my team member, we write the code, we write the prompt, we refine the test framework, and we wire things together. And we are talking about very technical stuff. Part of the end-to-end AI solution we deliver to the customer. So we are part of the product. That's for sure, no argument. And also the other part, that is, our goal as FDE is to making sure we can deliver the AI solution for the customer for sure. But on the other hand, we also needed to bring those lessons learned from the field back to our product team to making sure we deliver the right REST API, we deliver the right AI, we deliver the right documentation, right tooling, and whether there's any new area we should enhance our products. Should we add some kind of thinking model? Should we refine our test automation? Should we invent some continuous learning and improvement for our prompt? So all those are product related. In the end, Cresta is more like a SaaS company. We run our solution and the customer using that solution in our cloud, and then maybe connect with their call center or CCaaS systems, and we charge by our platform use. But without FDE, it's very difficult for a customer to build their own AI agent to call their API, to do their business logic to make their customer happy, right? So it's very difficult for customer to do this by themselves. And also this is very difficult for our engineer in the product team to do this, because they are focusing on more those reusable components, common features. FDE is the person in the middle, right? To wire things together. We are not really part of the pre-sales or go-to-market, because we are part of the product. I guess it's more easy or natural to put the FDE team in the product org. And it's also to some degree, that is, our current product is designed for FDE. The AI agent part. We have many other components at Cresta or SKU, but the AI agent platform itself now is primarily designed for FDE, so that we can deliver in a high quality way, in an efficient way, time sensitive way. Step by step, there'll be more component feature our partner, our customer can use. But our current step is really making sure FDE can build the solution for the customer. And I think, I guess this is a very long answer. Sorry about that. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think you touched on a lot of interesting things. One thing that was interesting was you mentioned the product kind of feedback loop. And one of the primary tasks of an FDE was and is to actually find the pain point for one customer, solve it, and then feed that to the product, right? Make sure that the product builds primitives that can be reused for other customers and that can shorten that implementation time significantly. And as an example, I think at Leverage, we started with the sales order process, and initially building a solution on top of our platform that was suiting the needs of the customer took 12 weeks. Then based on that solution, we figured out what were the biggest sort of components that the platform is missing. Integrations, data tables, a bunch of other things that were really crucial for the solution that allowed us to get to the next customer and build the same solution in 8 weeks, and then the third customer in about 6 weeks. So that's kind of a significant decrease in delivery time. And I was wondering, maybe from your side, do you have a good example of a pain point that a customer had that you had to solve? Maybe that was quite challenging, right? From both management perspective, but also technical perspective, and that you then built into the product and made sure that it can be reused.
Yeah, there's many cases like that, right? So people argue a lot regarding whether we should keep working on this PLG model or like even the SaaS, is
Yeah.
that valid term in the AI world? And also FDE people, one of the common argument is whether this is a like sustainable way, is that just a project? Yeah, I guess you and I also agree that is FDE have to deliver for the customer, but in the same time, we want to making sure the platform will be involved based on those feedback so that we can get more things done easily or get the current thing done easily for the current platform. And there's always new problem, there's new domain we can tap on. So, for example, Cresta have worked with quite a lot of airline companies. So for different airlines companies, they might have different booking system, different rewarding system, and they have different policies. Even sometimes have different tone. Some airline really focusing on to give you the premium experience. Some more focusing on cost efficiency. So it might be some midnight flights. And we as the AI agent platform provider, based on the feedback from the first few airline companies, we can build some patterns. Right? So it is common to work with this type of API, and what's the common workflow to change a seat, what's the best way to present a seat, or what's the best way to present the options, right? So do you want to say, I want to fly from London to SFO, and even you can figure out 20 different flights. You want to read one by one using voice, right?
How do
So
you how do you
we can
extract
figure.
these rules? It's quite interesting what you just said, right? And airline companies are just one type of client that has, I would assume, a lot of complex business rules, right? And as an FDE, one of your first tasks is to understand their process and extract as many of those business rules. I found that quite challenging, right? Sitting down with them, there's a lot of tribal knowledge as well. Every
Exactly.
company tends to say, yeah, we have really good SOPs and well-documented processes, and you can find everything in a specific service. But then in the end of the day, a lot of that knowledge is in the heads of operators. Did you find that challenging as well? And maybe how did you solve it?
Yeah, this always the case. Again, different company may have different level of maturity or maybe AI readiness. That is whether those SOP is available and how comprehensive, how detailed, how deterministic it is, right? So maybe it's just a single guideline somewhere. Maybe it's multi-page instruction. Maybe there's a lot of screenshot inside that maybe it's not very friendly for AI agents to understand those things, or maybe it's outdated already. So different companies definitely have a different level of maturity about SOP, and it is so important to have this SOP is standard operation procedure, right? It's almost nice to have for human being to operate because people know how they can adapt to certain situation, but it's almost must have for AI agents because otherwise you just let AI LM to guess what's the best way,
Free
and
flow.
you will get a lot of surprise. Sometimes can be happy surprise, sometimes can be terrible surprise. Yeah, so that's also exactly the reason why company like Cresta or people in this FDE space is so valuable because the reality is not perfect, never, right? So there's always some very vague rules. There's some best practice in some of the most experienced human agent, and our role as FDE together with we can talk about this later, that we also have FDE PM, we have the CSM or other solution engineer. So as a team, we can spend a lot of time with customer to let them to refine their SOP and make this really work for our AI agents. And maybe they will add a new API, maybe they will fix some bugs, or maybe we will just add a bunch of guardrail or some kind of a helper message or things to make things more deterministic, less vague. So to refine the SOP itself actually is also one of the value to building AI agent or AI solution for the customer, because you cannot really expect organization to deploy AI solution and make their revenue like 5x, 10x better if their fundamental business model doesn't work, or if they already have a broken process. If they already have a relatively good state and they can using AI agent to make this more scalable. In the past, they can handle, for example, 200 customers per day, and using AI agent, we can handle like 20,000. That's a good case. Leveraging AI, in the process of building the AI agent, refining it, expanding to more scope or use cases, we can refine the SOP for the customer. So in the past, we call this digital transformation. And I guess maybe in this new world, that is, we are helping customers to build their business more AI native. And this is very valuable. It's more almost like a side effect of building this AI solution, but actually beneficial to help the customer to move to the next step.
Oh, that's very interesting that you mentioned, and I actually noticed it with a couple of customers as well, where just by kind of having us trying to understand their process and asking very good questions and why something is done the way it's done, they also figured out their process is far from perfect. And
yes,
they were actually happy to change their process, right? Which I didn't expect, because oftentimes, customers push back. They say, we hired you to build a solution for us. We don't need you to go back and tell us we need to change stuff. But these customers were actually quite happy to adapt their process. And I'm quite glad that you have similar experience, right? Because they were interested in maybe changing their APIs, exposing the data that we needed in order to automate the process and make the agent work. But not only the technical side, but also genuine process of managing, in this particular case, it was finances, right? Where things have to be quite strict and deterministic. And they found a couple of places where they needed to build the process a bit more and extend it in order to comply to different regulations, but also in order to make it a bit more scalable, right? So quite an interesting thing there.
Yeah, and also I have a hot take. I guess people enjoy hot take for such a podcast. You don't want to hear anything boring or AI generated. So one of the hot takes I have that is FDE or the AI agent company like us, we are almost like the new McKinsey, right? Those are consulting firm. In the past, people send a bunch of money to let those people from McKinsey to come to your office, read your meeting minutes, check your slide deck, and refine your mission, vision, all those stuff, and give you some slide deck back and give you some suggestion. You should do this. But it's just on the paper, right? It's just a slide deck, it's just a document. Now, because we are building AI agents for those airline companies, for those healthcare, for those fintech, whatever it is, and we need to build a working solution. And that working solution should either handle those customer calls or do those upsell, solve issues. And we have this feedback loop because it's not really a nice problem somewhere. It should be working. And there's a lot of data points. Whether the customer is happy, whether we can handle more cases, whether we can reduce the period of the call. So all those is data-driven, right? And by doing so, we are refining the SOP in the same time, because a broken SOP or incomplete SOP never can make this AI agent work. So, by doing this practice, we not just get a better AI agent, we also get better SOP, we refine the process. Even you will know a lot of things that is based on data points. For example, we can get all the conversation history. We can figure out what customer usually complain about, what they want. So those data points can refine what the position or the strategy you engage with your customer. Even this is nothing related to AI, right? It's even just about human, even just about the traditional SaaS or non-AI component. So that's what I mean, that this is so interesting. That is, we are the other kind of McKinsey, that is, we give you the suggestions by building a better solution for you, by refining your SOP for you. And it's not just some nice slide deck. It's not just some nice document. It's working, and you get really next level SOP. Yeah.
No, for sure. I think you made a really good analogy there. And I've been thinking a lot about it, because every now and then you read a news article that says company X paid $10 million to a big consulting company for a report that they never put into action, right? And I mean, yeah, they do it because they get a stamp of approval. Some managers there, probably top level management, they are able to say, hey, I brought in, again, I'm not going to name any company, but they brought in a big consulting company and they said, hey, this is what you need to do. They have a stamp of approval and kind of a reason to hide behind it. Whereas I think we actually get to give them a solution. It's not just talking the talk, right? It's also walking the walk and making sure that what we say that can be done, we also do it ourselves and we deliver that solution. But that brings me to another point we should probably touch on because you must have noticed past couple of months, many reports being released mentioning that 95% of the companies that sort of dipped their toes into AI didn't really get to a production-ready solution. And I'm wondering, why do you think that is the case? Because from my perspective, I noticed it's very easy to go from 0 to maybe 80% of a solution. So kind of getting, I wouldn't even say it's a demo. I would say it's more advanced than a demo. So it covers the happy path, most common scenarios. But then customer says, okay, but now we have another 20% of the solution that is edge cases where maybe the procedure is not defined or maybe the data is not complete, and kind of getting from that 80% to close to 100. It's never going to be 100, but close to 100. I noticed it takes way more time, I would say way many weeks than going from 0 to 80. Do you notice the same?
Yeah. So that's also the value of FDE, right? So I also always take things in this way, that is, whenever there's a challenge, there's even a nightmare, that's actually a solid opportunity, right? Because if you can get things slightly better or significantly better, you are in a very good position, right? So everyone knows there's this term hallucination, right? For the and even the best model, no matter it's OpenAI or Anthropic, Google, Gemini, all those things, it's always there. Right, and no matter how good the prompt is, how many things you do, and for example, the number of the function to call. I mean, this is a little bit technical, but I guess people working in this space should know that is just have a nice LM is not good enough. You need to build a bunch of tools, just like the hands and the eye for the AI to interact with the real world, engage. But even you register, say, 20 or 40 different tools, and you say, yeah, you need to call this tool when you needed to verify the zip code, you needed to do XYZ. You make this very clear to the LM using prompt, but it's not always the case. LM will call it. Maybe it will call it like 9 out of 10. But what if the last one, right? So that, no matter it's 10%, 20%, or 5%, might be okay for the demo, right? When you do a demo, you will say, the demo god, please help me to make the successful demo. Come on, in the reality, if you made mistake at the rate of like 10%, 20%, even 5%, it can be miserable.
Yeah.
Right. So if you say, for example, I know people sharing the news that if someone get a car for $1 or even some chat robots say something off, even this is more like 1% or 0.1% of the chance you will be on the news.
Yeah, I'll give you a good example. We have one of the customers is a wholesaler, right? And they receive a lot of sales orders, and we need to process these orders. And sometimes AI makes a mistake. And the customer told us, do you know what? Our employees also make mistakes. They also have a bad day, and maybe they book or add the wrong product, or maybe they ship it to a wrong address, and it's somewhat costly. But maybe we lose a couple $100 on a wrong delivery. It's not the end of the world. But then on the other hand, you're working with some customers on financial solutions, and there you pretty much have close to zero margin for error, right? You can't just book a wrong invoice for $50,000 and pay it to someone else. That's a very costly mistake. So this is where we need to be much more careful in terms of the promise we give, but also I think human in the loop, right? Very, very important concept that people are, in my opinion, not talking enough about. Everyone writes about, here's this perfectly automated solution where you just sit and do nothing and it solves the problem for you. But I think that can be something that we aim for at some point in the future when the models become even better. But I think for now, we can already do a lot by just automating that boring part of the work and just having a human in the loop verifying if everything is
that's
going
also
well.
something Cresta in a very unique position. That is, we have this unified platform for both human agent and AI agent, right? So we can have such cases that is, if the AI agent is struggle for whether I should go direction A or B, in most cases, I mean, some other LM or agent just make a wider guess. They randomly choose which one they choose. But in the case of Cresta, we can have this setting that is, if the agent is not sure whether A or B, which one's better, they can have some certain signal to the team, and some other human supervisor or senior support engineer, they can see those signals when they
kind of
oversee
a confidence score, right?
and they can get it's almost like AI agent raise a hand, and the human being will see that signal, pull back flag, or do some kind of whisper. Yeah, you it's okay to give this discount. Human being can help you to navigate in this tough decisions. But also in some other cases, the agent is not aware of they are making mistake. So you have to making sure there's other, no matter it's guardrail or other LM as a judge, as a panel, everything around to making sure you are saying the right thing, following the, no matter it's regulation, following the company standard, even fit the usual company tone. So you cannot really rely on a single prompt or single chain to make things happen. You have to build a set of system around it, making sure if something make wrong, the damage will be controlled. Even for example, we have a lot of PI or other checking. If the main agent is about to say something wrong, other agent is able to cut it off or correct it. So that's the 5%, 10% we're talking about. That's the real value to hire a professional company doing this. Otherwise, even intern can build this for during a hack week. No big deal. I mean, everyone can do that. But getting that last mile or last 5% done in a high quality way, systematic way, and even it's okay, you made a mistake once, but you will never make the second mistake. Stuff like that. How to take the feedback in. It needs a lot of effort. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned that really interesting part of feeding it back to the agent itself. A lot of my customers ask, hey, is AI smart enough to actually learn from its mistakes and never repeat them again? You mentioned now you're implementing something like that, or your solutions.
Yeah, fundamentally, almost every single LM conversation is stateless, meaning that is, you don't really change their model, right? They just put all your conversations in a long history. This is what's the user side, this is the AI agent side, this is the tool set, and you can accumulate those information and send this to the next LM call and try to understand what's the context. The problem that is, like you handle thousands of calls every single day, and every single conversation is unique. So it is, by design, there's no such thing about your agent keep learning. You have to do something special. You have to do some ritual, right? So and understanding what's going on for this conversation, for this case, whether the AI agent give you the right response, whether the human being give you the right ranking, and you can discover any edge case, and you can do this either daily, nightly, weekly, have some human in the loop. You need to design the system in a way that is we can accumulate those lesson learns, and you can put this into make the next conversations better. So everything is not coming for free, right? The LLM itself, again, no matter from Anthropic or OpenAI, it's stateless. And you never change the model itself. The mistake, you can make the same mistake again and again if you don't do anything special. So if you build an agent, good luck. You have to do this everything by yourself. But the reason why we spend so much time, so many people on this, that is, it's not easy. There's a lot of building block like that. You have to pay attention to make the quality better.
Nice. We touched on a lot of interesting topics there, Jove. And I actually wanted to ask you one thing, because you have a unique perspective of kind of leading the team of FDEs. And maybe you can share with us a bit more. I'll be honest, I read your article you recently wrote, and you mentioned that you had an opportunity to interview or review thousands of candidates so far. I was wondering, what do you look for when you're interviewing someone for an FDE role, or when you're like looking at their CV or cover letter? What are those skills that you're particularly interested in and that you believe put someone in a really good position to become an FDE and to actually do this job well?
Yeah, I'm very openly to can share about it because I don't want hide those criteria. I want meet a more promising candidates and bring those awesome talents to our team. Yeah, you're right. If it's not thousands, at least hundreds of resumes, in certain way that people will say, yeah, I'm already AI engineer because I can web coding a bunch of things. So even they don't really know what is Git, what is like unit test, even they don't know what is stuff like dialog or those things. So I have to be honest that is I don't really spend a lot of time for every single resume because imagine like I get hundreds every week. Also, I get a lot of help from our recruiter for sure, but I never use AI to judge the resume. Even I can, but I never made this because the AI is not good enough, and also I don't want the world is so miserable that is AI determining the future for us. So, but I spend 5 seconds, 10 seconds for every single resume. Maybe you can blame for me, but I don't really have enough time to spend doing research for every single resume, right?
It's not possible, right?
So I do look for like some basic criteria, for example, like whether the person is in US or Canada, because right now we operate primarily in North America, and whether the person coming from a nice university, because again, it doesn't mean a lot, but it means something because you are already selective, right? So you earn your ticket, go to one of the best university in a nice kind of major, you already get some computer science, or even you are not really in computer science, but you're already technical enough, right? And also what kind of technical stack you are using, right? So if people talking about a lot of buzzwords, for example, like ISO or those change management, those are big words, not really about those technical terms I'm worried about. And also I want to make sure the person not just knowing Python, but also already build and use certain framework, right? Some of the Python-based LLM framework, some of the observability framework, and how to do the test evals. So we don't want to hire someone just good at Python and spend the other half year to train them. Get hands dirty about using AI or even building agents is something we look for. And also, I don't want to hire someone less than 1 year full-time working experience. So in the past, I set the bar as 2 years, but now I set to 1 year because I see some of the candidates who are super smart, they can grow fast. So, but if someone just graduate or even you are not graduate, please, you don't have to send a resume to me. I will just reject very fast. But because that is FDE, it's not really just technical effort. You needed to understand how to do the customer facing. You have to know some of the business logic. You need to know how to say no, how to challenge others, how to push the client. You cannot be just a follower, and you cannot just rely on a senior person to do the troubleshooting for you because every day there are so many problems. You needed to know how to make things happen. That's the reason why, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, that is if people already have some like founding engineer background, even as a founder, a couple of things. One is they already work very hard and in a very challenging environment before. They know nothing is easy. They are open to like work in a tight schedule and solve the problem. And they in the mindset that is, I will make this happen in whatever cost it is. So they will not just wait for approval from a PR. They will not wait for someone give you a task. Things like that. They will drive things and they will fix things. It's okay to break things, but as long as you can fix fast. So I really enjoy working with people in those like founding engineer background or even founder, and they are very hands-on. I mean, I'm open to hire someone very senior, even as a leadership experience. We have room for that, but again, our current priority is to build AI agents efficiently with those best practice. And so what I look at the resume, please, you don't have to send me a resume for like 5, 6 pages, just 1 page or 2 pages is good enough. I check what's the university, when you graduate, what's the school, what kind of project you work on in the past, what's the tech stack. With that, I will send the person an online test, making sure they can do the basic coding, because sometimes people lie or buff a little bit on their resume. I want making sure you can do the basic coding, and we can have our recruiter talk to the person, making sure they can express themselves, and also they can share their lesson learned, their motivation, and we can arrange a set of other technical interviews.
Nice one. And I think you mentioned something there that really resonated. I heard it as well on one of the podcasts I was listening. And that's that now with AI, intelligence becomes more and more of a commodity, right? But it's the agency that gets more valued. And when I say agency, I'm not talking about AI agents, right? I'm talking about just those people who are not waiting to be guided, who show proactiveness, who solve problems, who know when they need to push and when they need to step back so they don't get into a burnout, but also that know how to communicate with customers. And I think, when we say forward deployed engineer, we already mentioned that it's an engineer by nature, but I think what distinguishes them from other software engineers is that capability to feel comfortable in front of the customer. It's something that you can definitely learn, but it also needs to feel comfortable. You need to be able to kind of know who's the leader in the room. And obviously customer is, they tend to say customer's always right, but I think there's a fine line there. Customer doesn't always have to be right, and you need to be able to show them why they might not be right in this case without that being pretentious or without pushing too hard, right? So there's a lot of nuance there, and I would say a lot of soft skills needed in order to successfully do this job. At least
and
that's
also
something I've noticed.
FDE is almost like acquire new logo for our company, right? So some people, they have a rough idea, they can use AI agent to get things done easily, more cost efficiency, but they don't really committed to allocate that budget to work on this, right? So as FDE, we needed to make things happen. We need to set up a good demo, initial use cases. We need to expand. And also we need to show that value. It's not just, hey, this voice sounds great. It's more than that, right? So it can solve real problem. It can get the real and the relevant context, no matter it's a knowledge base, FAQ, and they can help the customer to solve the issues in a meaningful way, right? And even better than the human agent, because sometimes human agent is trained for a certain topic, right? So this human agent only know how to do XYZ, for example, this repairing. The other agent only know how to do the accounting. But all those knowledge base is available, and the human AI agent can handle all kind of different questions. They can do better than a human. FDE, we don't have to worry too much regarding how to get those leads, how to get those prospects. We don't have to worry too much regarding like invoicing, all those things. But our goal is to turn that kind of idea initiative to a very solid AI solution. And in the end, it's not just saving money and also generate revenue, make customer happy, and move the customer brand to the next level. So that's the value. And by doing so, you needed to bring your best practice to the client, right? For example, if some customers say, I'll give you very interesting data point, it's a little bit arguable. We saw that in our project. For example, how this AI agent should show the empathy to the client. And some companies say, as a human agent, you should always show the empathy. You can with the caller and make them comfortable and let them talk more. Some others say showing empathy have nothing good. It's just add more cost. So it happened to some of our clients that is based on our conversation with human agent, we can say, hey, this human agent show the empathy. Hey, this is how long it takes and what's the result. This is the other agent, human agent don't show the empathy. And this is the AI agent using this tone to show the empathy. And this is A/B test result. So we can run a lot of A/B tests. We can run a lot of historical data analysis. And we can prove to this customer that is, no, showing empathy doesn't really help. It's you can understand that, for example, you are calling, sorry, I lost my dog. I needed to arrange
Yeah.
something. And the AI says, I've been there before. Come on, you are AI agent, never been there before. So
Yeah.
let's be straightforward. So, I mean, my point that is, as FDE, because we work on so many different projects, we can access to so many different systems, we can so many data points. We actually can bring those best practice, we can bring those data points, we bring this industrial best practice to this particular client. As I said, we are next level of consulting firm, for example, like that. So, I mean, the customer is not always right. So the FDE, the FDPM, all the different roles, we can making sure we can deliver, and we can even deliver beyond their expectation. And sometimes we have to say no. We have to say, what's your initial idea is okay, but actually, you know what, we have a better for you. So things like that, that's give it a surprise and make things even better. So saying no is one of the key skill FDE have to be very good at.
Nice one. I think we've got another hot take there. There's a lot of hype around FDE role, and there's a lot of sort of comments on LinkedIn posts, people saying, "Hey, this is just a glorified consultant," or "It's a sales engineer" and stuff. And I mean, we discussed a lot about why that is not the case. But I wonder if there's a single thing, and I will also answer myself, if there's a single thing you think people don't really understand or know about FDEs. That's sort of something we do, but it's not as obvious as people would think.
Already past the age that is I want to convince people that is, whatever you say is right. Good luck. Yeah, but again, if you are working on AI related enterprise business, let me put this scope as narrow as possible. I mean, as a common term, DP, right? You should make it as specific, as narrow as possible. If you are working on AI-related enterprise solution or product, this forward deployed engineering or PM model tend to be a working way, maybe not the only way, but it is working because there's a lot of challenge for the current AI model, the tool chain, or the theory. That is, it is very easy for your client to get lost. And also it's very easy for your platform engineer or product engineer or regular software engineer, even sales engineer get lost, and they don't really understand enough about what the customer really wants. What's their API, what's their bug, what's their vibe, right? All those things need to be customized by bringing the best knowledge or pattern from the AI world together with what's the actual API, what's the business logic, the vibe, to making a working solution. I mean, it's very difficult for the customer to do it by themselves. It is very difficult for you as a SaaS company. If you only want to handle that 80%, good luck. But the other 20%, you will never get a good idea about that. So FDE is the person filling the gap. And because AI, there are so many nuances, you need to do a lot of A/B tests, data-driven process. So you need someone with this skill. Now they are a good engineer. They know AI very well. They spend a lot of time with customer, no matter using Zoom, Team, or in person, and they keep iterate the AI agent because, I mean, the initial prompt or initial tooling is just the first 5%. Most of our FDE spend a lot of time to refine the prompt based on conversation with customer, based on the conversation history with the real customer, based on the latest model. It's a iterative process. So if you don't have a dedicated team for that, for example, if this engineer most of the time working on this Golang or Rust backend only spend 5% of time talking to the customer, it's never enough. So FDE tend to be a working solution. And maybe Palantir invented this 10 or 15 years ago, but the reason why it's so popular because Palantir is so successful right now. But it's not just AI, they have other product lines. But if you want to turn your business opportunity to be solid revenue and get a loyal customer working with you, you have to have some role like FDE to make things happen, right? And whether this is called FDE or this is called AI delivery engineer or AI solution engineer, doesn't really care. I mean, FDE is a nice word. I like it. But if you prefer other words, good luck. I'm not going to argue with you. But I want to highlight that is you have to change your mindset if you still prefer using a PLG model, a SaaS model. It's no longer the word that is you build something and you can sell to many customers. You have to making sure the AI solution can work for the customer's API, for their business logic, for their vibe. That's all. And in the end, you can still charge them a lot. I mean, the deal size can be high enough to justify your cost on the FDE side, but you cannot really just want to build something out of the box and just resell multiple times. It's no longer the world.
Nice one. I think there we have a bit of a finishing sentence for this episode, which is, and I will paraphrase what you said. Nowadays, it's not enough to just build a product and sell it like we did with SaaS. We need to do something more on top of that. We need to make sure that the customer actually gets the value from the product and they keep using it. And that's where the FDEs come in. They make sure that what we built as a product is actually bringing that value to the customer.
That's right.
We wrap it up for today.
I have all the respect to other roles such as the PM, the sales engineer. I mean, everyone have their good value to bring to the table, but FDE is filling the missing piece. That is, there are so many challenges for AI, and the customer or the platform engineer don't really have enough time understanding each other, and we have to make things happen. And and AI is a very nice system, and it also brings new challenges. So again, we don't really talk all the topic we want to discuss, but I'm sure we can have other ways, and we can also bring other people in this FDE space. So I'm looking at you, that is many of my friends already in this AI space or even as FDE already. So maybe we can chat and we can argue that's it's all okay. And we don't have to convince each other, but bring more data points, bring more context to each other and just make the things working better.
Let's do that. And cheers until next time.
Yeah, enjoy the episode and see you next time. And also subscribe to this channel. And Milos, you might have your channel very soon. So subscribe.
Yeah, otherwise, read my thoughts on fdhub.org.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Yeah, see you next one. Thank you.